Everybody likes a hypocrite, right? I'm pretty sure I've got that correct and not got that confused. Well, I would suggest you go and watch my predictions from yesterday for Saturday night's main event. 99.9% of my brain does think that I don't think I'm correct, but that's still the way that I'm leaning in terms of guessing what's going to happen at SNME this Saturday. However, given the events of Monday Night Raw, I think WWE may be about to make, not a mistake, maybe that's a little bit too strong, but maybe an error of judgment, which will still get everybody talking, which is what they want anyway. As you are here, if you do enjoy my face, weird thing to say, please do hit that subscribe button. But yeah, I want to talk about Punk and Jey. Because the opening of Brawl was perfectly fine. It was what you would have expected. Do I think Jey Uso needs to do his entrance twice every single time? No. This is me being very old man yell at clouds, right? But I think we can save it from here and there. Of course, you have to appease the live fans first and foremost. But there are millions of people watching at home as well. And tonight especially, I'll just get on with it. And I love Jey Uso. I'm certainly not part of this We Hate Jey Uso clan now. And there are a lot of them, which is very interesting. Punk comes out, says, you know, I need that title more than anything. And Jey is like, well, you're just talking down to me, man. You think I'm the bad guy? I'm not a bad guy. I'm going to prove to you I can become a two-time champion. And it was fine. It was good. It was interesting. It's not the way that WWE wanted to go. So maybe I am giving them a slight get-out-of-jail-free card because Seth Rollins got injured and now they're scrambling. I do think you have to put your hands up and go, fair dues, you're doing what you can. But given some of the events that happened throughout the rest of the night, I don't know. Maybe I've just let my brain been indoctrinated, which does happen. But I have this horrible feeling that when we are talking next week, which we will do, that maybe we're not going to have a World Heavyweight Champion. Now, one, I can kind of understand this when I go back through old WWE booking lore, because CM Punk could win, but is it a big enough occasion for Punk to win? Arguable. Jey Uso can win. If he does he need to become heel? And if that does go down, I still think you're going to get some interferences too, maybe from Jimmy Uso. Maybe they both go heel, I don't know. Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso fell out, then rekindled their love based on the Battle Royal last week when Jey Uso essentially did what they said they were going to do, but Jimmy had then interpreted that differently as if to say they wanted them to get to the final two, and then they could battle out to become the number one contender. Bron Breakker beat LA Knight, which is a huge result, all things considered, but given the Seth Rollins situation, I do think Bron Breakker is going to win. But LA Knight was ripping up signs that say, we want LA Knight, not Jey Uso. There are so many bits to this, including Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed talking to Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman being like, focused on the people where you can mow them down to get your world title shot. We start with LA Knight because LA Knight had said he wanted a world title shot. I will be amazed if we don't get a WrestleMania 40 situation between Punk and Jey, when Jimmy Uso is there, and LA Knight is there, and Bron Breakker is there, and Bron Breakker is there, and Paul Heyman is there. And if you are going to do that, if somebody's not going to turn mega heel, for example, LA Knight could totally screw over Jey Uso, and I think you could do that as well. But then do you want CM Punk to win like that? That doesn't feel like a very babyface way to be victorious. Then you kind of have to do babyface Punk versus heel LA Knight, because Punk should be like, dude, I'm happy I won, but you got involved. I think it could be a schmoz, and I don't massively hate that, because let's say it was still Seth versus Punk. Actually, I do hate that. Sometimes I think you just need to go in. What I mean is I can understand where they're coming from more than I would on a different occasion. But Rollins versus Punk would have ended with nonsense, right? I don't think they were going to do the change then. I think they were going to build to a Royal Rumble or some other big show that they've got coming up. But Seth Rollins would have left as the championship. So if the idea of that night was to screw over Punk and you don't want to give it back to Jey yet, you'll do what WWE always does, which is nonsense shenanigans. And let's not forget, it's not a proper pay-per-view. It's not a proper PLE. At least I don't see enemy that ways, but you can argue that differently should you wish in the comments below. I think Jade Cargill's going to become the champion, as we talked about in the predictions. You could just stick that in the main event if you want to end with a championship change. I also don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that Cody could lose his title. That's me talking like an idiot. But because it's in my brain is what I mean. Like if you said to me, gun to my head, do you think Cody's definitely going to win? I would say, well, not definitely. I'm like 80.7% sure in my robot brain. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't stake my life on it, mostly because it's an insane thing to do. There's just something about this Sunday night's main event and then what I watched on Raw, especially because Punk and Jey were quite friendly to each other. I think if you really were going to go in the Jey direction, I think you would have to go bad guy. And he did have some attitude. He did have some edge. Not Adam Copeland, he went to AEW. But it was still very much in the way that he has been talking, not listening to Roman, not listening to Jimmy, not going to listen to anybody's mother. You know, I'm only going to listen to myself and believe. And Punk was all down for that. Even happy with the fact he threw him out of the Battle Royal. I'd be intrigued to get your thoughts, which you can do in the comments below. Does CM Punk walk away as a champion? Does Jey Uso walk away as a champion? Or are we going to get to Raw and that championship is going to be held up? Because do not forget, even though it would suck, and because I think a brand needs a champion. I don't like the two world champion thing. We talked about it before. It's not a massive deal, just my personal tastes. But Survivor Series is next, is War Games. I don't think the world title would have been defended there either, right? Because Punk's going to be involved, and Roman's going to be involved, and Seth would have been involved, and all their cronies, and LA Knight and Jey Uso. So you could have this title being held up, a bunch of people still going for it, and maybe even teasing that it could be someone not thinking of right now. but you don't actually have to crown anybody because you can get through the Survivor Series. And then I think there's anything in December because it's John Cena's final match. Maybe it's something you could do at the Royal Rumble. Let's not pretend that WWE and Saudi Arabia don't have this big love-in. So if you said to them, oh, you can see a new world champion there. I hope they don't do the gimmick where they go, oh, the winner of the Royal Rumble wins the championship. I don't mind when they've done that. Obviously did it with Roman Reigns in 2016, did it with Ric Flair back in 92. There's probably another time I'm not remembering. Maybe those are only 2 occasions. I like it as a concept here and there, not now. Doesn't feel like it's right. But again, we're in October. So by January, maybe I've totally changed my mind. I don't know. I do think it would have made a mistake. I got my words wrong a few minutes ago. I wouldn't mind it, and I'm perfectly happy for the wrestling world to continue to roll on. I think we need to make daring choices. We've lost Seth Rollins, who was a pivot for, Raw. He was the main guy in many ways, given that CM Punk sometimes will go away and Roman comes and goes like your nan at Christmas. Don't know what that means. So let's just have some fun. I would have made Bron Breakker the champion. I understand that WWE has a plan, and they want to do it out at SummerSlam, out at WrestleMania. Screw all that. A show is a show is a show is a show. We don't live in that era anymore. You can make an event off the back of somebody winning. I just think maybe they're a little bit too risk-averse. But again, they know this game better than I do. So, I don't want to jump on their backs too much. But Bron Breakker looked so good in that match with LA Knight. In fact, the whole match was pretty great. There was too many distractions on this Raw. I know I always go back to this, but every single match, apart from the main event, had some kind of a distraction. I think it's just boy who cries wolf, it gets less and less and less. However, moving that to one side, because Bronson Reed was getting involved, Bron Breakker looked awesome. I swear he's got a new bee in his bonnet, probably because he has been told World Championship is coming. Running around like flipping Sonic the Hedgehog. LA Knight is just underrated. Some of the stuff he was doing was brilliant. Finish was awesome. Misses his elbow and gets speared out of his boots. Then, of course, you get all the shenanigans after the fact as well. But it's such a weird position for LA Knight to be in. What does he do? That's why I think, I'm just repeating myself, but that's why I think he has to inject himself into that main event, if it is the main event, of SNME November 2025, whatever the flub we're going to call it, because otherwise he's in no man's land, and he would have just cause here to be pissed off. He just lost again. And he didn't lose clean, because Bronson Reed was being a penis on the outside. So I don't know. It's so interesting, because I really would assume that Jey... Well, you could do that. Punk could win, spin off Jey and LA Knight, and then just do Punk versus Bron Breakker. Why the hell not, right? Just make Bron Breakker Seth Rollins, but switch it around because, of course, Bron Breakker beating CM Punk is going to be massive, right? Because CM Punk is one of the biggest stars of the modern day. But this match was good, and a lot of the matches were good on this episode of Raw. I don't know, there was just something hanging over this head, and Bron Breakker talked about it backstage as well with Bronson and Paul. Why didn't we just enter that Battle Royal? Paul's like, patience, my dear boy. It will come eventually. I guess it's good that we get to guess, and I guess it's good that there is a certain amount of jeopardy there. I really can't argue it either way for Punk or Jey. I lean more in the direction of Punk, because I just think we should give it to him, biggest babyface on the brand. But maybe I'm the outlier here. Giving it to Jey, it's not that crazy because he's won it before. And you are going to have to do something different with his character, maybe. Maybe CM Punk can go and spin off into the Vision, and Roman Reigns can get involved there because he's going to still hate Bronson Reed. That's what takes us to War Games. And you do CM Punk versus LA Knight. You do Jey Uso versus LA Knight for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now you're going, that doesn't sound very good, but let's give it a go. It's new, it's fresh. And if you have this, I wouldn't even call it an undermatch, but this other match going on with the likes of CM Punk and Roman Reigns in the Vision, who are massive stars. I think ultimately you've still got good storylines, and you've still got a great amount of depth, and it means we can actually crown someone, and that's a reason that CM Punk has to double back round to winning the championship from whoever. I don't know. It's good that there's options. I just want to make sure we leave this weekend with a champion, right? Seth Rollins is gone. It sucks. I hope he's okay. Nothing more important than that. But just come up with a new story, come up with a new direction, come up with a new structure, and decide from October, or November by then, through to the new year, only a couple of months, who do we want to be the top guy on Raw from a championship perspective? It could be anyone. It can be a B you find on the floor. Hello, Mr. B. We're going to make you the champion. Okay, it sucks. So what? It's 8 weeks of television. You can move past it. And maybe you strike gold. Oh, wow, now we've got something else. Because I do think more guys on both Raw and SmackDown, and girls, need to be moved into that main event scene. It's not lagging, but there's just this eerie feeling we need to see some new matches, and we need to see some new faces. So you have an opportunity here, and I think you should take it. And even if it absolutely sucks, and you make a mistake, only the super nerds will care. Well, I'm a super nerd. All the super nerds, super idiots will care, right? That's all, because you can always retroactively change it and give it to somebody else. It doesn't matter. Even if Bron Breakker won it on Raw, which would be crazy unexpected, if he then goes on a tear, everybody, mostly apart from the obvious, is going to be happy. Speaking about moving people up as well, love the fact that Raw main evented with the women's tag team titles. You watch any of my stuff, I'm a huge fan of those belts. The issue is they don't get defended enough, which Charlotte and Alexa accidentally ruined. They were like, do you know we're coming up to breaking the record? It's like, don't tell people that. It just goes to show they're not consistent enough. But they did take on Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. Just awesome. They're all great. They're all top tier performers. I think Lyra Valkyria is over-the-top mannerisms are wonderful, and she should never stop doing them. Make sure you go to my TikTok, where I'm not taking the mick out of Live Valkyria. I'm a fan. If you get in my stupid producing wrestling promo skits, it mostly means you're doing the wrestling I love the most. That's why the Usos are in there, because they're just so over the top in the best possible way. But yeah, check out my TikTok. There'll be a link down there. And you'll laugh. And if not, you can leave a comment saying, Simon, you're a dickhead. We all win. But I just thought it was really good. Loved the finish, with Bayley about to be tapping out and then Lyra Valkyria saving her to sort of underline they're now best of buds as well. It doesn't make any sense. It's all I got. I don't want wrestling to make sense sometimes. It depends it does make sense, but it depends how much logic you want to break down. Because, of course, we do the tap out based on MMA, UFC. But if you still shout, I quit, the referee go, all right, you're done. You quit. It's just a visual thing in case you're all tied up and you aren't able to say something. So the idea that somebody can't quit unless there's a physical thing on the table, which I shouldn't have done, because it's very, very annoying on video, would be circumvented. But it's wrestling. I don't want it to be circumvented. I send this to What Culture Wrestling. I do the freelance reviews for them. And Dominic Mysterio getting chucked out of the Battle Royal and then getting back in because nobody saw him is preposterous. Don't take it away from me, right? I need it in my life. So all of this was good. Love the double natural selection as the finish. And the Kabuki Warriors coming out after earlier they had said, we're going to come out and whoop your ass. Those two guys are great. And they didn't attack Bayley. I would presume, given what happened in Judgment Day, given what happened in Damage Control, kind of similar, not really, not at all. And there's something we can lean into there. And Bayley has kind of been acting like she could go heel because she's crazy now. She went crazy before her hot tag during this. But she also protected Lyra. I think we keep all these teams involved. I know that Lyra and Bayley just got defeated, but WWE does that all the time. That was the worst thing. Charlotte, literally when anyone can just ask for a title shot? No, that can't be how wrestling works. It's so lazy. You have to come up with stories. Not that it mattered here. But yeah, Asuka and Kairi for the first time backed away from somebody. No Io and Rhea on this show, I'd imagine, because Rhea's still dealing with that broken nose and Io was out in Japan doing the Stardom stuff. I think we could have got a video. That's me being completely geeky, so you can ignore that one. But if you throw those two into this tag team thing as well, and you've got everything going on with Stephanie in the World Championship scene, I think that could be awesome. But this was a great match, great finish. I love the fact it closed Raw. Just firing on all cylinders. So we have to keep these tag team titles going. The Solruka Zarya thing was fine. I mean, got a little long to get there because Charlotte and Alexa hadn't done stuff for a while. But we've done it now. We can keep this momentum going. And I promise you, if you get a good run out of it and you do hot potato the belts a bit to keep interest up, they're going to fly. They're good. People care about these. And you have talented people behind them, but you got to give them TV time and you got to give them stories. You got to give them promos. Very excited. I think the Kabuki Warriors should win. I think it's going to be flipping great. There's also a 10-year Oscar in WWE video on this Raw. She's one of the best ever. Full stop, no notes, don't care. Talking to Stephanie Vaquer as well, yes, it was Nikki Bella versus Roxanne Perez. The match was fine. It was under the right home about. I think Nikki Bella definitely walloped her once. Once again, too much distractions, but at least it was Raquel Rodriguez. Then Roxanne Perez won, which I was actually quite impressed with, really, given that Nikki Bella is a returning legend in many ways. And then obviously the Judgment Day beat her up, and out comes Stephanie Vaquer to return the favor. I still think Nikki Bella is going to turn heel, which is why I think she needs to be defeated to give her evil in her brains. But it's a bit weird. Like, I like Stephanie Vaquer and Raquel Rodriguez facing off because Raquel is the monster. Nikki Bella popping up like some kind of Pokemon just killed me. I think it's going to tie into the story, so it's fine. I don't want to fall into a Tiffany Stratton situation. Tiffany Stratton versus Jade excites me because Jade went heel and all of a sudden it feels like we have some metal in the feud. Whereas at the moment, Stephanie Vaquer feels like she's feuding with Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez because they just needed something for her to do. And Raquel's and Roxy's win-loss record is pretty dire before all of this. So it doesn't really feel as heated as it could do. But I am glad the last few weeks have got Raquel over as, that's why it's good she was distracting here. It's just a shame it's throughout the whole entire show. Because again, you can sell it as, oh my gosh, she's so terrifying. It's 1980s wrestling. How is Stephanie going to overcome this? But Raquel can move. Raquel can work. I don't know. I need to see it. I do like the fact we've got this separation because I think taking all these superstars and putting them in the tag team division is only going to help your women's division overall. But I still think we can do more. And it was the same with Tiffany as well. More promo time, more stories, more feuds with people that feel like a threat. It's why Julia probably needs to get moved up and do something with that US title as well. Actually, she'd be great on Raw right now. Don't know why he moved her to begin with. Different video for a different day. But it worked for what it needed to do. I do feel like the belt has kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit, and that's nothing to do with Stephanie Vaquer. She just needs more things to get involved with, and hopefully that's what this was. But she should beat Roxy, and she should beat Raquel. That, I'm not just saying they're not on their level. That's not the right thing I mean. But you can't really build the feud in the way that you would need to change the title. And also, Stephanie only just won it. But listen, Stephanie Vaquer is so over. As long as that continues, and if you do the Nikki Bella thing at a Survivor Series or a Rumble, that will be great. I mean, you can argue then why the hell did Roxanne Perez beat her here, because that takes away some of the gravitas of Nikki Bella. Sometimes WWE just does that shib. And when Nikki Bella does turn heel, which has to be a few weeks now because Jade just did it, you saw what happened with Jade. Instantly get your heat back, and for some reason, instantly you become a bigger star. JD McDonough versus Sheamus was awesome. Tied into the Battle Royal because Judgment Day had been dickheads with Dominic Mysterio, and they'd screwed over Sheamus. I mean, a Spanish fly off the top. I've met Sheamus. He won't remember this. It was a meet and greet years ago. He's a massive man. So for him to do that and for it to be the victory, great. Great. Hated that the Judgment Day just went, Adam Pearce, can we have a tag team title shot, please? And he said yes. We talked about it, don't need to talk about it again. I would merge those titles yesterday, but once again, what do I know? But just Sheamus, man. Any fabulous, stupid thing for me to say. It's a shame he came back so unceremoniously last week in the Battle Royal. But this massively helped JD McDonough, I thought. I thought he had a great match, especially because Sheamus whooped the beating out of him. Strange sentence again. And Sheamus is always good. And even though Finn Balor was distracting again, by this point I was like, oh my gosh, we got to stop it. The man is so good. When he put JD McDonough's foot on the rope, perfect timing. And his little wiggle jiggle really sort of tied into all that as well. I do think we probably need to hit fast forward a little bit on the Judgment Day breakup or whatever phase 3 is going to be. Because obviously we had Dominic saying, please help me earlier in the show, and nobody was going to do it. But I like the fact that JD McDonough can beat Sheamus and then they get their tag team title shot. But you don't want to take it off. Who even the flub won it, man? Oh, it was AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. Again, they just popped up on the show for 8 seconds. So there is absolutely an asterisk here. But just focusing on this match, it was really, really good. And if you have 10 minutes, you should watch it. We protected Sheamus. He got popped on the head with the shillelagh. Once again, I think a Spanish fly off the top. Like if you had caught him, you could have got away with that. I don't think you always need to use a weapon. Like Sheamus being caught by surprise, then hit with the Spanish fly. But like, yeah, man, that would take a dude down. It's still good. I ain't moaning about it. And we figured out that Dominic Mysterio will be taking on Penta and Rusev at Saturday Night's main event. Because, yes, he sent the El Grande Americanos out. How do no wrestlers watch the show? You've seen time and time again, if there's a number one contender match and you send some idiots out to break it up or it ends in a DQ, the manager, or the general manager in this case, Adam Pearce, will go, right, well, now you're just going to be a triple threat match, you absolute fool. It is kind of interesting because I don't know who takes the pin in that. You could probably take it off Dominic, but I wouldn't do it. I just don't think it's the right time. I would wait for something. I don't know what that something is. But I just feel like Dominic's in this, like we talked about it, this crazy babyface turn, but not really because you want to keep his heel. He's Eddie Guerrero, ironically, but he just is. You want to keep his heel tendencies, but just make sure they're being aimed at heels, and therefore he becomes a babyface. I just think, I wouldn't mind Penta winning it, wouldn't mind Rusev winning it, and then Sheamus beating Rusev, we talked about it. But you can hold off on this, and Dominic Mysterio should do something funny to win it back, and then hopefully there's plans afterwards. I'm going into repetitive mode. Tiffany Stratton, same with this. Dominic won at WrestleMania, and then we never really followed up. Same with the US Championship in many ways. I think we could have had a bunch of feuds, and he did Penta, and he did Octagon, and now we're back to Penta again, but we throw Rusev in there. If Dominic wants to get rid of Mysterio and just be Dom, then it's just the first names. It's the battle of the first names. But this was a good match until the breakup. I didn't even mind the breakup so much with the El Grande Americanos, but it was a bit like, oh, man. Sometimes I just want to see a winner and a loser and see where they go from there. But listen, anything Dominic Mysterio is involved in right now is super duper fun. And ultimately, that's why we watch wrestling. I think he's fantastic. And within 2 years, I think he should be the world champion. He should absolutely win a Royal Rumble one day, tick all of these boxes. The man is gold. The man is great. And he carries a youthful presence about him, which all wrestling needs at the right time. No notes. So it was a weird show because it didn't get me any more pumped for Saturday Night's main event, although it did get me thinking about it. And I think you should probably check out a couple of the matches, especially the main event. But I don't think there's going to be a lot that, apart from the small stories that we've used to tie in, like the Kabuki Warriors, etc. I don't think there's anything on there that's like must see, otherwise you're going to cry or fall over on your chair. I would hazard a guess that WWE now feels like they need to get through that show before they hit reset again, but that's not their fault. They just lost one of the biggest guys on the brand. But I did enjoy myself. There was a lot of fun. There was a very funny Kofi Kingston, Grayson Waller Netflix promo too. Someone once said Kofi Kingston couldn't play heel. They were completely incorrect. And Maxine Dupree also said, I'm going to get trained by somebody. I imagine that's AJ Lee. And then she won't beat Becky Lynch. And then we can do AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the IC title, which is also fine. So yeah, a lot of pauses, a lot of maybe putting out fires and just seeing what we want to do with the Seth Rollins stuff. I really don't mind who wins it, CM Punk or Jey Uso. Just let somebody win it. Sound good? I agree. Let's do that. Now, of course, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click that on the screen right now to get my predictions for Saturday Night's main event. Let me know what you think about those. Subscribe, I'd beg of you, a bit much, but it's true. Hit the notification bell. Otherwise, patreon.com/Simon316 for my watch-alongs going up all the time, only $5. Grillermind.com/Simon. You can Simon get 10% off, 30% at the moment. They just got brand new nitric pre-workout pills.
The best pre-workout ever, I tell you. Maybe not better than the powder, but if you're into pills, you can take them anywhere. You can get a pump. Don't worry about it. I don't know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, Simon316, if you want to come say hello, say I'm on TikTok, please do subscribe to my TikTok. All my funny videos are going there, and I'd love for them, not to blow up, that's an extreme, but just to get a nice audience, because they are fun, and TikTok's such a wild place. Instagram, Cameo, all that nonsense, prowrestlingtees.com/Simon Miller for merchandise, and that's it. Otherwise, my friends, have a terrific Tuesday. I will see you throughout the week. That's it. Be well, be healthy. See you then.